You know, I never thought I'd start playing World of Warships. I mean, I've been seeing this game make the rounds for years. I've heard of the millions of players, and how deep this game becomes when you master its many aspects. And since I love Empire Total War and its naval combat, why the heck hadn't I tried World of Warships already? I mean, when Wargaming reached out for a sponsorship for this video, which by the way, if you sign up now for free through my link in the description, you get a huge player starter pack worth 25 euros with a bunch of goodies and no strings attached, I thought, finally I get to try this thing and spend some time in it. And yes, there is a bunch of action, high caliber naval cannons, bombers to watch out for, minefields to pay attention to, and just generally awesome massive battles to give it your all in. But you know what really drew me in? The general life at sea. Those beautiful sunsets just above the horizon, those rainy days where you can't see much except for your naval buddies, those awesome waving flags as I order full speed ahead, and those waves that surround my ship as I pierce through the sea. I mean, just look at that tasteful coloring, those glistening waves. With the recent visual updates, World of Warships is now downright gorgeous, and I've actually never seen naval battles depicted this authentically. With changing weather during battles, 650 different historical warships across 13 nations, I'm addicted to these changing POVs. Whether we're talking an overhead shot of my battleship or a first-person view from my broadside batteries, I can't help but feel a certain addiction to sending off my torpedoes at just the right time to completely decimate an enemy ship, and to feel the same amount of doom when I just know now and come to terms with the fact that my entire broadside is getting absolutely pinned by the same. Thing is, World of Warships is both beautiful and action-filled at the same time, allowing you to survey those oceans before you meet the enemy team head-on, and becomes wildly intense as the battle progresses. And this is how it works. World of Warships' progression system is tailored around researching and unlocking new ships, and then customizing them with upgrades. What type of ship you prefer is kind of up to you, as lighter ships are faster but can take less heat, and the larger battleships are understandably slower but also offer a larger arsenal of weapons and gadgets. Ships are unlocked over time as you accumulate more in-game experience, and after unlocking new ones, you finally get to try them out in the field. And this is how a bunch of your first games are gonna go. Both teams of ships begin at the opposite side of the map, and depending on the type of match, you're going to have different set of goals. But what stays consistent is that you're going to want to survive and have your team win the most points. Sometimes that means shooting down more ships than you lose, and other times it means getting a hold of the map's different control zones and keep in control of them. You of course only have the one life though, and if you die, that's basically it. You can play matches with a full team of other human players going up against AI, or join full-on human versus human matches if you're feeling frisky. Wait times for matches are never long either, since bots will take any empty remaining spots. What I've learned is to enjoy those first few moments of calm. Take in the sea breeze, get a feeling for where your friends are and where you might best position yourself. Think about where you're heading to, but keep in mind where the enemy might be, since in the beginning, both teams are concealed until they're not. What I love about World of Warships is how much you have to think about, but also that in the beginning, you don't have to worry too much, since the lower tier ships never offers too many mechanics. Because while you later will have to start thinking about different types of artillery, torpedoes, sonar, anti-aircraft, and possibly even minesweeping, your first few ships won't have that much to offer. You have your standard cannons, which will demand most of your attention because shooting isn't just simple as. You see, you have a select number of such cannons on your ship at all times, but their aim actually need to line up with where you wish to shoot. And since cannons cannot shoot through your own ship, you now have to deal with deliberate ship maneuvering, because cannons move rather slowly to their new positions, and they also demand reload time. For the best salvos then, it's easy to come to the conclusion that a full-on broadside is always the best thing possible. And I mean, they definitely look and sound good. And it feels awesome when you empty an entire magazine into an opponent's face. But you gotta be careful, since get this. When you show your entire hand, you also make yourself a bigger target. Not only does this make it easier for others to hit you with their own cannons, but the most dangerous thing of all isn't a grenade, but underwater torpedoes. You see, torpedoes are mean, man, because if you're unlucky, you won't spot them until they're storming towards you. And if you're in the wrong position, well, you might just have to eat the ball and say goodnight. This is why it's so important to be mobile, to understand the enemy's position and what they might toss at you, and to know exactly when you should perhaps try to steer clear.
Our victory is in sight.
because if you're coming up against each other with minimal range, odds are you won't be able to outmaneuver those torpedoes coming at you with full force. This is why for the most part, you might want to maintain a philosophy of always staying on the move and moving at various speeds so as to best remain unpredictable, because you'll quickly learn that when you're the one with the torpedoes, that hitting the enemy ships might not be as simple as you think. For one, even though they might seem to move fast when they're coming for you, torpedoes move much slower than your regular cannon shots. And since the enemy can see them coming from some distance, you must always take into account their reaction to them. In other words, if you are a few kilometers apart and you notice that the enemy is moving full speed ahead, consider aiming a good section ahead of their current position. Because once those torpedoes are released, they don't change course and will either go until they hit something or until their range limit is reached. But man, when you fire them off at just the right time, there's nothing like that massive explosion. And those action scenes really is where it's at here, whether we're witnessing a barrage of artillery fire or seeing those rising explosions of water shooting up as you get hit in the side. What's interesting about these matches is that since we're playing as massive warships, you might get the feeling that everything is kind of slow moving. But funnily enough, I actually got the opposite impression. Sure, you're not as agile as in a certain tank game, but once you've closed in on the enemy and the battle begins, all bets are off. And if you don't pay attention, you will see yourself bite way over more than you can chew. This taught me to really take it easy in the beginning, see where my teammates went, and be a bit more methodical about things. After all, since my favorite ship type is of the heavy kind, I don't necessarily move as fast as those smaller destroyers, and so I'll probably do best to stay at least a certain distance away from enemy cannons and their torpedoes. What's awesome about World of Warships is that if you temporarily had enough of those ship versus ship battles, you can jump into campaign type unique battles alongside other humans. Here, as in the D-Day mission where you have to prepare the waters for the landing ships, you have to take out the enemy targets, survive enormous minefields, stay clear of enemy aircraft, and take out batteries that are located ashore. You play alongside a bunch of allies, but that doesn't mean it's easy. In fact, it took me several tries before I managed to survive this whole mission, since there are so many challenges throughout the battle, and nowhere in this game can you just rush in and think that a few meters of steel is going to save you. New story-like missions like these pop up over time, and I was surprised how quickly they show up and sort of allow you to test out much more advanced ships, which you'll be able to unlock for yourself later on. There is so much going on outside of the battles as well, as in new gear and tech to unlock, campaign-based rewards to make each battle matter more, and you can even start building your own ships through the in-game dockyard. When all is said and done, I honestly can't believe I didn't try World of Warships sooner. It is utterly unique in its scope and polish, and as a historical World War II style naval simulator, it offers so much. It comes across as intuitive and honestly easy to learn. I'm constantly taken aback by these stunning visuals, and the matches are so intense, I just want to jump into another one even now. If you too want to jump in and try this game for free, and even with a €25 starter pack just like that, make sure to follow the link in the description to get 500 doubloons, 2 million credits, 7 days of premium, 1 tier 4 ship, and a 6 skill point commander to kickstart your journey. I've loved my time in World of Warships so far, and can't wait to see you there on the high seas too. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, let me know your thoughts on World of Warships, and thank you so much to Wargaming for sponsoring this video. And I'll see you next time. Cheers!